Hey, welcome to Too Many Gadgets. Today I'm talking about this, the Mi Note 10 Lite. So the original Mi Note 10 was one of the strongest releases in my mind in 2019. That phone set really a high bar for what you can do with a smartphone and a camera with its 108 megapixel resolution and at a very attractive price. But still, that price point is not for everyone, so I think it makes good sense for Xiaomi to try and make a sort of a reduced version, but still keeping many of the strengths from the original version. So let's have a look at what you get and what you don't get with the Lite version. The screen is a 6.47-inch AMOLED display rated at 430 nits. It has Gorilla Glass to protect it, so you should be pretty safe from the usual incidents. The processor is a Snapdragon 730G, which also makes sure that you are prepared for 5G support. The version I'm testing here has 128 GB of RAM, but you can also find a slightly cheaper 64 GB model. The phone has an optical fingerprint reader in the front screen, which works out really great. I'm really not a fan of putting the fingerprint readers on the backside, because what will usually happen is that you will put your finger over one of the cameras and smudge that. So it works out much better with the front fingerprint reader. You charge this device using a USB-C connector, and it has a 5260 milliamp battery, which should be more than enough for using it for a complete day. In the package you will find a fast charger. It weighs only 204 grams, which is slightly lighter than the original Mi 10 version, and that is a good balance. The corners are rounded, so it's fairly nice to hold. The backside cover is made of plastic. The software on this device is Android 10 with the Xiaomi MIUI 11 on it. It's always your personal preference how you like those sort of skins. I find this working out just fine, so yeah, no problems from my side. The main camera is rated at 64 megapixel. You get an 8 megapixel ultra wide camera, a 2 megapixel macro, a 5 megapixel depth camera, and the front selfie camera is rated at 16 megapixel. In terms of video recording, you can do up to 240 FPS in 1080p in slow motion, and in normal video you will get 1080p at 120 FPS. You can do 4K recordings in up to 30 FPS.
Starting out with the macro cam, you see here a picture of a flower, and if we compare that to the iPhone 11 Pro Max, I think there's a little bit more detail on the iPhone picture. Switching to the main camera, I think those two pictures here are pretty much alike, but perhaps the colors on the iPhone are just slightly more natural to my liking. Switching to the main camera but turning on the 64 megabit resolution and then doing a deep zoom, we really see a lot of details here on the cars in the background, and doing the same study on the iPhone, then we really are running into problems when we are doing the zoom because we are lacking the resolution.
So how is this device in the everyday use? Well, I find it very handy. It's super snappy. As you will see here, the response times are very low, and you just get a very fast phone. The backside is made of plastic. Some prefer glass. Again, that's obviously a way to reduce the cost from Xiaomi's side. I don't mind it. And again, the main thing for me is that a phone is fast and responsive, and this one definitely is. The main differences are obviously the cameras on this device compared to the original model. So this one is rated at 64 for the main camera, whereas it has 108 on the non-Lite version. The selfie cam is on this version 16 megapixel, where you got 32 megapixel on the original model. The ultra-wide camera on this is 8 megapixel camera, and it was 20 on the original version. You can shoot 1080p on this model in normal mode up to 120 FPS, whereas the original model went up to 240 FPS. The original model had a distance sensor, which the Lite version does not. However, the Lite version is also slightly lighter, as it's only 4 grams lighter than the non-Lite version, and that makes sort of sense because again, some of the cameras should be lighter than the more heavier 108 megapixel. This is a really powerful phone, and I think Xiaomi really in general makes great value for money, and this is also true with this. So the original 10 had a lot of buzz around it, especially due to the camera and all of that. So I'm really excited to hear you guys comments on what you think of the Lite version, if you think that price point makes sense. So this sells for just around $300 including shipping, and I'll leave a link in the description field. And if you pay $30 more, you get a 128 gig version. So the $300 US dollars price point is for a 64 gig version. A lot of punch in this phone, and still I think it's great to see Xiaomi moving in this space and keeping it competitive, because if you again compare to what you get for those money, if you are to shop in the Apple world, it's really not a lot. So I think there's definitely something to be said here, and again, it's very healthy with that amount of competition, so that we are keeping Apple on their toes for improving, especially the cameras, where it was fun to see that this phone can kick my 11 Pro Max camera really in especially the zoom factor of being able to still keep good resolution even though you do an extreme zoom into the picture you're taking. So again, yeah, I found this very neat device, and I can definitely recommend it to you guys. As always, leave a comment if you have any questions or if you have anything else you would like to know about this phone. See you guys in another video. Bye.